Good morning, everybody. I'm on my way to Doc Poles with Mr. Shadow. He's not been eating the last 3 days. He really hasn't eaten anything. Obviously, he's getting skinny. He really has no symptoms of anything other than not eating. He's still affectionate, as you can hear. He's still lippy. Still sleeping by me, next to me at night. Still purring, still grooming, still using the litter box properly. I don't know. I'm thinking it has something to do with the issue he had with his leg earlier this year, like cancer. I hope that's not it, but I also hope it's not kidney failure. So I just thought I'd bring the camera along because actually we have a sunny day. That's been extremely rare around here lately. So we're gonna let this roll. See if we see anything. Mr. Shadow is not a happy kitty. They originally told us they couldn't get Shadow in until 2 o'clock Monday afternoon, and we were like thinking, well, if he doesn't eat for 2 more days, he might not frickin' make it. So we called him again this morning and told him what was going on and talked to one of the vets instead of just the receptionist. So he's like, he or she, it was Dr. Jones. I'm not familiar with this particular vet over there, but they were like, bring him in at 10. So at least hopefully we'll find out what's going on. I didn't even sleep last night. Tried to lay down and he was right next to me, purring with his head on my shoulder. It's hard to sleep when you got tears in your eyes. So I ended up getting up at 1:30 and stayed up till about 6:30, and I managed to sleep for 2 hours. So that's all the sleep I got last night. And I bought something that's going to help us deal with our a-hole neighbor. I bought a 4-camera surveillance system with a DVR that records the video. And there's nothing illegal about pointing a camera in his direction. So we're going to let him know that we're watching him. And I will be able to get proof if he does anything to any of my animals. I'm going to ask Art next to me if he will let me put one of the cameras on his house to watch the jerk's lower part of his yard. I can watch his house and upper part of his yard from my yard, but I can't see down by the river. So either way, I do whatever I can to try to drive him out and make him as uncomfortable as possible. And then we had a scare Wednesday night. Tracy and I were sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden Art comes walking in my front door, and well, that's really unusual. A, he usually knocks, or actually mostly always calls. He never walks over, so I knew something was wrong right away. And I'm like, what's going on? Is your phone broke? And all he could like spit out was, oh, it's wacky. And I went over and he sat right down on the dresser we got there, and he was not breathing right. I could tell he wasn't right, and he couldn't spit out a sentence at all. And I said, well, let's get back to your house and see what's going on with your phone. Well, I had to help him walk back over to his house. He could barely walk. Mr. Shadow. And I got him in the house, and I texted his daughter-in-law, and I said, hey, something's not right with Art. And once he sat down in the chair, I started asking him questions, and he could not answer me anything that I asked him. So we ended up calling 911, and by the time the paramedics got there, it was about 15 minutes later. He had calmed down, and he was answering questions a little more coherently. But some of the questions the paramedics asked him, like, what year is it? He said 2010. And then they put the 12-lead heart monitor on him, and he had a flutter and a skip in his heart, and it was racing and then going normal. And so they ended up taking him to the emergency room, and it turned out it was a blood pressure issue, because I seriously thought he had a stroke because he couldn't talk right. But now that he got to come back home the same night, and they adjusted his blood pressure medicine. What's up with all this traffic? I never see cars on these roads. And now that he's taking his blood pressure, the right dose and all that, I went over yesterday and visited with him and had a pleasant conversation. He was totally coherent, so that was cool. Man, the traffic around here is just crazy. Mr. Shadow, I know. It sucks to be you right now. I know. And then what'd you do? No way. Why'd you keep me awake last night? So we got here and they got us right in, straight into the room, so that's cool. Hi, Mr. Shadow. He's being extremely good. When I had him here in May, according to the records, he weighed 10 pounds. Today he weighs 8 pounds. So, yeah, that's a lot. He lost a fifth of his body weight. So, but he's being really good. And they drew blood. We're going to keep our fingers crossed what it comes back. God, I hope he's alright. This is my boy, aren't you? Huh? You're my boy. Yeah. There's the paw. There's the paw. He's just so sweet. Well, guys, I am so relieved. They did blood work and checked his blood, and he does not have kidney failure. I didn't think he did because he wasn't throwing up or none of those typical symptoms of that. His blood work came back that he's slightly anemic. She's not quite sure what caused him to not want to eat. Perhaps he was sick and just didn't feel good, so she gave him a steroid shot to hopefully improve his appetite or increase his appetite, and then we got some other things to try. So we just got to try to keep feeding. Make sure he's eating and drinking. So hopefully he'll start eating. That's our biggest concern. Seems like every time we come over to Doc Poles, there's more of these things. That's pretty cool to see 5 of them all together like that. Very cool. But yeah, they are everywhere around here as far as your eye can see. I seriously wonder how much these people get for having these on their land. I bet they get some good money. Alright, we'll do some sightseeing on the way back. I'm going to take some different back roads home this time. There's a deer sanctuary up here on the right. They used to have some albino deer, some white deer. I don't know if we can see in there though. They put up some netting in the fence because people were actually just shooting the deer because they could. It's insane. wish I was in the Buick. I'd be up higher where I could see better. That's the sanctuary there. I think that's actually the name of this place, the sanctuary. I can't see. I can see out there, but I don't see any deer. I do not see any deer out there. It's a huge, huge piece of property. Mr. Shadow's just chilling in the carrier. He's not making a sound now. But yeah, they actually have feeding stations out there for them. Oh, I think they have bison or something out there. Wow, that building's new. That was not there. Those are some kind of big animals out there. I don't know if I can get zoomed in on them. Oops. Darn it. Sorry, guys. Can't tell where I'm looking. I can't get past that fence. They're out there. Something. Not sure what they are. We'll go down this road here. Drive along the other edge where the fence is closer to the road. See if we see anything down that way. Going back to the surveillance cameras I bought the 4-camera system because I'm going to use 2 of them to monitor across the river, so that could turn out to be pretty cool. And it records. And it seems, I tested it last night with 1 camera out. Since I couldn't sleep because of Mr. Shadow, we set it up in the house, made sure everything was working correctly, and so I took 1 out, camera outside, tried a night vision, and it looks like it's got really good night vision. It says 100 feet, so that would easily reach across the river. Yeah, they got netting on this. All these cattails, whatever they are, yep, they are cattails. Can't see anything here. You can tell they built this road right through the swamp. And that was the end of the property there. Well, I don't want to run over these people walking their doggies, so I'll be back in a minute. That's pretty cool. The only part of the barn left standing. This is the road that we saw that skinny little cat a while back, I don't know, a month and a half ago or something. It's just down the road that way. Sure is nice to see some sunshine for a change. Man, dark days, overcast days get to you after a while. And this is a barn. I've not seen one built like this before. I'm very sure it's hollowed. The doors are on the bottom on the other side. Pretty neat old building. We still look for the big furry guys, but I just don't really expect to see one in the daytime. Right in this area is where we saw that little cat. Right in the road right here is where we saw him. Sorry this is jerky, it's hard to do alone. And there's one of the oil wells. It does make that noise, but not nearly as much as the other ones. It is a hit and miss engine though. But that doesn't seem to be loud enough to reach us. Because I'm about 2 miles from home. I guess it's possible the sound could travel that far. Right here is where we saw that little cat. There is a house behind me on the right. But if it belonged to them, shame on them for letting that cat look like that. Starve. Disappointing I'm not seeing any deer. It's surprising actually. All this cut corn. Well, I hope this catches you guys up on what's going on with us. Not a lot going on with the bonfires. The weather's been horrible. And like I said a couple weeks ago, videos are going to be few and far in between. Just not a lot of subject. And honestly, guys, part of that is just the disappointment. You do a lot of effort into a video and you get 100 views. It just kind of bums me out sometimes. Sometimes you just think, what's the point? I know a lot of you guys have been with us for a while and we sure appreciate it. Appreciate your support. And I'm never going to totally quit YouTube. Hope you enjoyed the scenery. Very glad to tell you that Shadow's okay for now. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.